Hey everybody, it's Casserole Thursday, and today we're going to be making a hamburger casserole. It has all of the ingredients that you like, and it doesn't call for a lot of ingredients. You probably have all of them, but if you don't, you have time to add them to your grocery list before you do your weekend shopping. And I'll get all of our ingredients out and we'll just make it together. So come on in my kitchen, get comfortable, and let's make this hamburger casserole. Okay, let's go over our ingredients before we start making our hamburger casserole. Today I'm using 1 pound of ground beef. This is 85/15. So I'm going to take this over to the stove. I'm going to put it in a skillet, and I'm going to use my browning fork, and I'm going to scramble this and brown it. So to this, if you want to, Doug's not an onion lover, but if you wanted to, you could chop an onion and add some onion to your hamburger meat as you brown it, or you could just put some onion powder in it. But I'm not going to be doing either because Doug doesn't tolerate onions, but those are a couple of options that you have while you brown your meat. You could add onion if you wanted to. Next, I have 5 red potatoes. These are just little medium-sized red potatoes. I've taken these over to the sink. I've scrubbed them real good. I've washed them really good. And now what I'm going to do is to put these in a saucepan, a boiler, and I'm going to cover them with water, and I'm going to parboil our potatoes. Parboiling is pre-boiling. I won't boil them to the point that they're mushy or completely done, but I want to go ahead and start the cooking process before we start putting our casserole together. All of you know that it takes a while to cook potatoes in the oven. So this makes it simpler, it makes it quicker. So I'm going to parboil those, and I'll show you more about that as we go along. I'm also using 1 can of golden mushroom soup. You can use just the plain cream of mushroom soup if you want to. This is a 10.5 ounce can of mushroom soup, golden mushroom. I'll be using 2 tablespoons of butter. Now today I'm using the unsalted butter because all of you know that soup has a lot of sodium in it. And I may not even add any salt to my hamburger meat. It's a matter of choice. So on this recipe, I would say that salt and pepper is to taste. I'll be using 1/2 cup of whole milk, 1/2 cup of whole milk, and then some grated cheddar cheese. And this is medium grated cheddar cheese. And this is about 2 cups. So now let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and get started over at the stove with our meat and our potatoes. And when we get to the point that I can come back and bring you in, I'll be back shortly. The potatoes are boiling. I'm going to boil them for about 30 minutes. Then I'll take them off the stove. I'll run cold water over them to cool them enough so that we can peel them and slice them. Our meat is almost ready. It's scrambled, it's browned, it has some excess juice in it, so I'll use my strainer, probably a colander, to strain that, and then we'll start putting our casserole together. We are now ready to put our casserole together. I have sprayed an 8x11 casserole baking dish with a no-stick cooking spray, and now I'm just going to place my hamburger meat, my browned hamburger meat. I drained this, got all of the excess fat and juice off of it. So we're just placing that in our casserole and spreading it out. Now, let's set that aside and start working on our potatoes. Okay. After our potatoes boiled for 25 minutes, I took them off the stove, poured the hot water out of them, and put some cool water over them so that I could cool them and be able to handle them. I cut the eyes out of it before I boiled them. And so now I'm just going to take this little knife that I have here, and I'm going to just cut the skin so that I can start taking the skin off. And y'all, look, this just comes off so easy. It's like, it reminds me of when I was a little girl and we grew potatoes, and we would go out and dig potatoes with a spoon, and then we would actually peel the skin off with a spoon. But this is so incredibly easy. You just take a little knife and just peel the skin off, just like that. I may have more potatoes than I need for the casserole. If I do, we can certainly use them. They won't be thrown away. We can just put some butter, salt and pepper over what's left and eat that for another meal. But I always like to have enough. So I started out with 5 potatoes, and I may use them all. We'll see. And I have on my gloves because I'm working with these potatoes, and I can just pull them off when I get finished with the potatoes. So now I'm going to take a larger knife, and I'm just going to slice the potatoes just like that. These are not quite done. They're almost done. I can feel a little hardness in the center of the potato. So now let's bring our casserole back over, just like this. I'll turn it this way so that you can see it. And we're just going to place our potatoes on top of the meat, on top of the hamburger meat. We're just going to place our potatoes here. Yum, this is going to be good, y'all. Tell me in the comments if you have a hamburger casserole recipe. That one broke. That's fine too. That means it's almost done. So we're just placing our potatoes over our meat in our casserole dish. I'm not going to have any left, if any. So here we go. Now look, this is almost perfect. I'm just going to use all of them. I'll just kind of double up a little bit, not waste any of them, just because I do love me some potatoes, and my husband does too. Look, I used every one of them. So I used 5 medium-sized red potatoes, and you saw how I did that. Now, let's put together our liquid to go over our casserole. I have a small bowl here, and I have some golden mushroom soup, and I poked a hole, used a knife and put a hole in the bottom of it, and so that I could turn it over and work with it, I just stuck a little piece of paper towel in there to keep it from draining out. But the reason that I stick a hole in it is because it helps it to come out of the can really, really easy. See how it dripped right there? Look at that. It just pours right out. Look. And then you have very little scraping to do. If you want to scrape and get that extra little bit out, you can do that as well. See, this is golden mushroom. It looks good. Now we're going to add 2 tablespoons of melted butter. 2 tablespoons of melted butter. Remember, today I'm using the unsalted, just simply because I'm trying to cut back on salt. You could use the salted if you want to, but this soup has a lot of sodium in it. So I'm just stirring this around, and now I'm adding 1/2 cup of whole milk. I'm going to swap off and get my whisk here. Just whisk this together. We are almost finished with this. And it is just going to be scrumptious. Look at those little mushrooms in there. Now, we're going to pour this over our potatoes just as evenly as we can. This is similar to the ham and noodle recipe that I gave you last week. The casserole that we did together, and all of you loved it, and I thank you for doing that, and thank you for telling me that you did and that you tried it and that you were going to use the recipe. So that makes me happy. Be sure and share this with all of your friends. We want to get these casserole recipes out there. My daughter Carol, who lives in Atlanta, she told me, she said, send me that recipe. She said, I know I would love it, and we're expecting a great grandbaby any day, and she's trying to make some casseroles to go in her freezer so that when the baby comes, she can help Taylor Kate with taking care of the baby and providing some meals, and casseroles are a great thing to have to serve during times like that. So now I'm just going to put a little cheese on top. This is our grated cheddar cheese. You can put as much as you like or as little as you like. I have about 2 cups here. I may not use all of it. And I have preheated our oven to 350 degrees. And I'm going to put this in the oven and let it bake for about 25 to 30 minutes. And when it has baked and it's ready to come out of the, I didn't use it all. When it has baked and is ready to come out of the oven, then I'll come back and we'll look at it together. Okay, our casserole is ready to come out of the oven. Look at that, hamburger casserole. Look at those potatoes. Yum, this is gonna be so, so delicious. I baked it on 350 for 30 minutes. Okay, we're ready to dip some of our casserole and see how it looks. I'm gonna get me a big serving. Look at those potatoes. I'm gonna turn it over so you can see it. Look at that meat. Oh, it looks so juicy. Can't wait to taste this. Yeah, I just love a potato. I don't think I'm showing you the plate. But there you have it. Hamburger casserole. Okay, that wraps it up. So here's our hamburger casserole. Look at those potatoes. Y'all, this is a meal in itself. You could just add a veggie or a salad, or you could just eat this. So we're going to do a taste test. I appreciate you being with me today. As always, I appreciate your being with me in my kitchen. You're very, very special to me, and I want each of you to know that. Don't forget to share our video. Share it with your grandchildren, with your nieces, nephews, sisters, whoever you come in contact with that might want a good casserole recipe. So now let's taste it. That is so good. It really is delicious. Yeah, I love these potatoes. I could just eat the potatoes and leave the meat out. That is so good. I will see you again really, really soon with another good recipe. Bye-bye.